It's KD the One, and I'm here with another reaction video. This is my boy T.
Yo, it's T the Grizzler.
Alright, we're sitting here checking out the real reason why Trump invaded Venezuela. I ain't even gonna lie, I just got informed by my wife that this shit was happening. If y'all niggas know what's going on, y'all probably see this a little bit later. It's being said on the news that we might be going to war.
Yeah.
But we're trying to get all the information from here. All right. So let's cut the talk short and let's get into the info.
Trump has now said that, for those of you that don't know, haven't heard yet, the U.S. will run, quote unquote, run Venezuela until further notice. Or the exact language is, let's see, make sure I get this right. Let's see, Trump run Venezuela.
All right. So if y'all not informed, basically Trump has captured the president or dictator or whatever, the leader of Venezuela, and currently he is arrested with his wife, I'm pretty sure. Now, what he just said is Trump is basically saying that America is going to take over control of Venezuela. Okay, again, this some big shit. I'm not gonna hold y'all. I'm trying to take this as serious as I can. This is really big news. This can be a lot of things. This can mean really everything. This can really mean war. We're really sending out hopes and prayers to everybody right now.
Let's see. Says no, wrong one. Where is it at? Trump says U.S. will run Venezuela. Tweet. Yes, says we'll be running Venezuela amid issue. How this is gonna go, right? Because some people have already a lot of people will overreact to things, and I don't know if it's an overreaction or if it's fair reaction, but some people believe that this could inch us a little bit closer to a nuclear war.
That's what I'm saying. I'm sending out hopes and prayers to families, to people all around, because we really don't want this to end out in war. We are hoping that this isn't more than what it should be. We are learning this same time y'all are.
And in all transparency, I don't know how that works on the global
if you hear
stage.
the dog in the background.
I just know that the man didn't have an international arrest warrant out for himself. And another YouTuber that I follow, who is very well versed in politics, I want to read just a couple of things that they shared about allegedly what took place or what was taking place. It says, yesterday, President Maduro in Venezuela met with President Xi Jinping's Chinese delegation for Latin American and Caribbean affairs. The meeting served to quote unquote consolidate the new multipolar world order in pursuit of sovereign development in the global south. It's a mouthful. It emphasized the quote unquote unwavering relationship between is it Caracas?
I think it's Caracas, yeah.
Caracas and Beijing, particularly in the face of unilateral coercive measures. That coercive measure was carried out just hours later as the Trump administration, quote unquote, removed Maduro from power this morning. Make no mistake, this was done for two reasons. One, consolidation and control of Venezuela's trillions worth of crude oil under the soil. And number two, the growing threat of BRICS to the petrodollar, and with it, U.S.
Y'all would think this is a fucking meme, bro. Trump is doing this for oil and for the growth of money. Literally, like, you would think this is a fucking meme. We are taking over another capital, another place for money and oil. You would really think this is a fucking joke.
Hey, but oil expensive though.
No, like, there's trillions of crude oil in their soil. So let's just say that they're trying to pay off parts of their debt in America with efforts of another land. Like, I really think that's kind of crazy. I know that, again, this is how the world been for a minute, but I thought growth, we can sit here and get past that. I thought that maybe Trump, even though he's a hit or miss president, sometimes he does terrible things. Sometimes he does maybe a little smidget of good. Maybe he might do something and keep us out of war. But to sit here and do this for just oil, my guy, it's crazy.
It's first and foremost, I am convinced that I don't believe that, and I know this is going to be a pretty big statement to make here on the spot. For some reason, I've been feeling this way for a while. I don't believe that Donald Trump is going to serve his entire 4 years. The way things are panning out,
He needs to go.
it's making me believe
now,
that,
for real.
similar to what you and I was just discussing in our video, Brian, how everybody has a role to play. And I just feel like they're already priming us for Vance. Trump is up in age. I believe Trump is doing things, and I think they're serving multiple purposes. And I think JD Vance is probably going to be the person that's quote unquote going to save us or fix the things that Donald Trump is doing. I feel like early on that's sort of the direction that we're headed. And when I read this, it doesn't make me feel any different, you know?
I can pose a scenario to you. So I think to get into a war with Iran is going to be tough, meaning to get the public to go for it. And I think now in the year 2026, it's a lot harder to pull off a 9/11 style event. Just think of the cameras, the internet, you know what I mean? Meaning if, let's say, they try it and something fishy happens, you know what I mean? Like, it's harder to do that. What if they take out Trump and they blame Iran? Now it's very hard for someone like you and I to be anti-war. Think of the names we'd be called if we said, I'm not down for this war. They would have you in a really tough position. If your president gets whacked, they tell you Iran did it, and now you're against war. That's not going to be a good look for the anti-war folks. They will be beating that war drum hardcore if an event like that happens. Let me pose another scenario to you. The financial markets are near the end. Anyone who understands what's going on in these markets, you can see it's near the end. Whether it's a year away, 6 months away, it's near the end. Why not do a cyber attack? Iran did it. You don't have money in your bank account. Those Iranians, they cyber attacked your Chase Bank. They cyber attacked your Wells Fargo. We got to get them now.
Lately, I've been realizing that America been catching on every single race of people. Like, right now, we're catching the Somalian situation, how Somalians stealing money from America. We're sitting here catching the Iranian people. And if you please check out formal what's his name, Aquarius Wave. I forgot what his name is now. But if you check out his video, New York has become the first Muslim state. Or Muslim claim state, let's say that. In his video, that's what he's proclaiming. Please check out his video if you want to see that, if you want just a free shout out. Because I don't know if this fully has to do with this situation, but I've realized that a lot of Americans, or let's say government officials, have been pushing when it comes to situations, when it comes to outside of American soil. Let's say that. Let's just say that, right? I don't want to push it any wrong negative way.
Meanwhile, they're going to be the ones that does the cyber attack, not Iran. Do you know before COVID they had Event 201 where they were doing like pandemic simulations?
low-key wanna
They're
see
now
what the
doing
news
cyber
does say.
pandemic.
And I
Really
think this
wanna
is
see
going to
what the
buy
news guys
exactly
say.
perfectly into a little bit of what Brian was just saying.
Americans are unaware that behind the scenes, the technical backbone of the financial system is decades out of date, many, many years out of date. You know that Paul and others are straightening it out. Under this bill, the entire ancient system will be eligible for a 21st century upgrade.
Tokenization is the idea of using then smart contracts or tokens on chain to be able to that represent, say, an underlying security.
Do you expect this is where financial services is going? Are the major banks and the brokers out there today moving increasingly toward tokenization?
Oh, absolutely. And it's the
Tokenization. Give me a second. A nigga a little slow, you feel me? So tokenization is the process of replacing sensitive data with non-sensitive equivalent, a token, for security and breaking down text with similar units. Token perform AI processing. With this, oh my bad, my shit. With this core idea being the substitution for handling security and analyzing, I guessing, data and all that shit on people. Again, a nigga a little slow, so sorry if I read that shit slow. I'm kind of interested how they pull this off because, man, y'all people was talking about the rapture and all that shit coming. And again, I'm not trying to push fear. I'm not trying to be the next nigga that start that shit. Please do not make me the next nigga that start that shit. But for something like this is a little sketch, be honest. Like, this is a little sketch. For something like this would be scary for me because this sounds like something that would be a start of the rapture, forcing us to get food, security, our banks to only work between one singular token that we're going to have to be given. That's something that's scary. Again,
the
that
way
could
the
just be
world
overthinking
will be, here in the, I mean, maybe not even in 10 years, maybe even a lot less time, maybe a couple of years from now.
The institution that is responsible for the clearing, settlement, and custody of almost all securities transactions in the United States, responsible for processing $3.7 quadrillion annually, just got the green light from the Trump administration to completely rewire the U.S. financial system, and they're going live in the second half of 2026. By the way, the number that I just said was $3.7 quadrillion. And quadrillion is the number that you get after trillion. And trillion is the number that you get after billion. And I won't insult you by going any further than that. So the Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation, the DTCC, just got a no action letter from the Securities and Exchange Commission, or essentially was just given the green light to update the financial system. But what is the DTCC? What do they do? What is a no action letter? And what does this actually mean for you? And how can you position yourself to take advantage of what's coming? First, what's the DTCC? All right. So we live in a world today where fiat currency is the standard, meaning money is no longer backed by any physical commodities, but instead by trust and by debt. And so as a result, the supply of money is constantly expanding, and over time, the purchasing power of that money steadily declines. So because of this, simply holding cash is almost guaranteed to lose value. So it's become the default for investors and institutions and governments to invest.
So remember when we was talking about the craze of how everybody, and I don't know if I had this video, but I know for sure Ty Buggy, he had this video. The craze of credit. Everybody doing everything with credit. You can now get a burger for credit. Pay off a burger every 2 weeks, my guy. Now we're pushing onto that system where money now is almost becoming worthless. Maybe not. But in few hundred years, money will become worth less than the credit that is traded. And I don't know how that's going to go. I don't know how this credit system is going to be evolving later on in time. But this is something that, again, scares me because you don't know how this process is fully going to go. You don't know how this is going to help people. You don't know if this is going to fall off. Maybe this might help people. Maybe this might fuck people over. But you will never really know until the process is over. But this is going to make a big ass change, and this is going to change a lot of people's lives.
Will move their money into stocks, bonds, and other financial instruments called securities in an attempt to preserve and grow their wealth. Securities are tradable financial assets such as stocks, bonds, and derivatives that represent ownership, debt, or some sort of contractual claim. And this is how companies and governments raise capital, and this is how investors participate in economic growth. When you go out and you buy a security, whether it's a share of a stock or a bond, you aren't transacting directly with the issuer or the company or the person that's on the other side of the trade. These transactions flow through a complex network of intermediaries, such as brokers, exchanges, clearing firms, and custodians. And this is where the DTCC, the Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation, comes in, because the DTCC sits at the center of the modern financial system. Its role is to clear, settle, and custody securities transactions. So it makes sure that basically when these exchanges happen through a brokerage, the buyer actually receives the asset and the seller actually receives the money. So without the DTCC, every trade would require direct trust of the other party. So in short, the DTCC is the plumbing of the financial system. All right. It doesn't create money, it doesn't set prices, it doesn't decide who wins or loses. It's just making modern investing possible by ensuring that ownership records are accurate, that trades are settled, and that the system doesn't collapse under its own complexity. And it does this to the tune of 3.7 quadrillion and rising in transaction volume every single year. Now, the SEC is the Securities Law Enforcement Agency in the United States. When people, for instance, commit fraud or insider trading or some other securities law infraction, the SEC will come after them. They can bring civil enforcement actions, they can impose fines and penalties, they can force people to give back gains that they got from bad activities, and they can even issue trading bans or bar people from serving as officers or directors in companies. So you don't want to play around with the SEC when you're in the money business. They can literally kick you out of the game. And if they see fit, they can also refer you to the Department of Justice for any criminal proceedings. Now, before the Trump administration was in office, you had a very, very hostile SEC, as well as other government agencies, in terms of their relationship with blockchain technology. And this led to what was called Operation Choke Point 2.0, where crypto companies and even the founders themselves were unfairly attacked by the SEC and were also literally being debanked by some of the most important financial institutions. Now we have Trump's guy, Paul Atkins, at the helm of the SEC as the chair. And the tide has changed. So we have a crypto task force, and they are working directly with the CFTC on the commodity side, and they're updating regulations left and right. And over the past week, they just issued a no action letter to the most important player in all of finance, the DTCC. Now, a no action letter is just an important player in all.
Y'all can read this yourself. I guess this is the letter towards explaining how the tokenization is going by the DT.
All of finance, the DTCC. Now, a no action letter is just a formal response from a government agency staff saying that, hey, we won't file any enforcement action against you. And in this case, they said that they won't file any enforcement action against the DTCC for the tokenization of securities, meaning that the DTCC can now issue and record securities transactions using blockchain technology. And this changes everything. Okay, so not only did the DTCC just announce that they will go live with tokenized securities as early as Q3 2026, but they have also announced who they're doing it with. And that's with a blockchain network called the Canton Network. Now, the DTCC has also in the past explicitly mentioned that its open tokenization model will facilitate the use of multiple token standards, embedded compliance, and multi-blockchain interoperability.
All right, I'm not gonna bore you all with too much of that or overload you because that's a lot of language that a lot of us aren't accustomed to hearing every day. But Brian and I was actually not only did Brian just reference the financial market, but Brian and I was also speaking a little bit about where the country is headed in the video that we did before this live. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts on what the gentleman just shared.
Well, first off, Didi, you should probably kick me off the channel and get this guy on because he did as good of a breakdown of that as you can get. Like, I don't even know how to follow that. I mean, he really laid out exactly how this system works. So
So again, y'all could see this video if y'all want if y'all want to see the full detail. I am trying to sit here and just make awareness. This is real. This is a real thing that's happening. This is a real change that's happening. Not only are they saying here trying to rewrite our currency in a deep way, like not only are they saying here y'all thought it was going to be something when they took the penny away, they ended up bringing that back because of the outroar, because they knew how much money people was going to make from the rarities of it. So they thought, okay, how about this? We make virtual money more important. We make invisible money more important. We make credit so important that we look over it. We end up rewriting the system. We sit here and make money, physical cash, more irrelevant. I feel like shit like this would be, again, seen as a joke. It might just be something I'm overlooking at the moment. I would love to look back on this video and see the rest of this video after. But again, no advertisements, no nothing. Please look this up yourself. The Venezuelan president is really fucking captured by Trump. I really learned this the same time that most of y'all are probably learning this. Probably y'all learned it before me. Please let me know. But this is some real shit that's happening. I'm sorry if this was a very sloppy view of this, but please like, comment, subscribe, share this, or if you can just research this, please just have your own insight of this, because this is some serious shit. I'll see y'all boys next time. Peace.